What's going on, y'all? Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Yes, I'm drinking rum. Got an acid cigar here. I forgot the style of the cigar it is, the long rectangle one. Just moved into my new spot, so I'm going to get lighting and everything situated. And it's a little warm out here still, getting acclimated to the weather changes. Anyway. I'm about to give you an intellectual, let me put the cigar out because it can be distracting. I'm about to give you an intellectual black man's perspective of the movie, The Joker. The Joker. For starters, this is going to be spoiler. Spoiler. Okay? So, if you haven't seen it yet and you don't like watching spoilers before films, cut this off. All right? Wait till after you see it. If you're those like me, who I like spoilers, and we're still gonna see the film, keep watching. If you haven't seen the film, you just looking for an interesting take from an intellectual black man, I'm your guy. All right, so the movie The Joker has so many parallels. I want to say, for starters, this is a very layered movie. This is a movie that is ciphered. It's very ciphered throughout the film. So therefore, what I mean by that is that there are scenes, the next scene after the original scene before it are unpredictable. It's as stable as a mentally unstable person, but it's not scattered. What I love about this is it intellectualizes the mentally unstable person, because on the outside looking in, you look at him like, oh, he's crazy or she's crazy. No, they're just intellectual. They're just intellectually thinking within another realm, another sphere of life, right? Which I loved about this film. It was genius. This is a great film. I will watch it again. I will have it on my collectibles. Great film, head to toe. So, starting off the film. You have it to where I want to start. Well, I missed the first 5 minutes, not 15, but 5 minutes, which is cool because I caught the first 5 minutes on YouTube. Anyway, so let's fast forward to the first scene I caught, which was him bathing his mom. Well, no, it was him at work. So, was it bathing his mom? Either one. So the bathing his mom scene, I think that was the scene. Yeah, the bathing his mom scene was interesting because what it shows is that his mom has this affinity for Thomas Wayne. Thomas Wayne is Bruce Wayne's dad, right? Bruce Wayne, we later know, becomes Batman. Ain't no Batman in this movie. Ain't no superheroes in this movie. Sorta. So she has this affinity for Bruce Wayne, and she says something to Joker along the lines of, well, he's going to look out for his people. He's going to look out for his kin. As if they have a kindred connection, that he's going to save the city that he's going to help them get from the bottom. Which, again, when you study American history, you see a lot of that sentiment shared among whites especially poor working whites, post Thomas Bacon Rebellion, because that was the first time in American history, that was the first time in world history where Europeans, a collective group of Europeans, considered themselves white. That's when it was first used in law. I think it was the Virginia Act of 1642 or some sort. That's when the elite white folk were able to convince the poor white folk through legislation and propaganda that, yeah, you'll never reach the tier that we are in life and have the access to resources we have or the control we have, but at least you're white. And at least you're not the bottom tier. You're not the blacks. You're not the Native Americans, right? Native Americans are blacks. But anyway, that's another whole conversation. So that's for the first time. That's why, you even go to the South now, so many Southern whites have a strong ties and strong kindred care and national pride, especially towards the flag. Because they, it's that whole complexion of the protection. They feel like, my ancestors from this country, they built this country, they fought for this country, etc. We're all one, right? That's the belief that the elites always wanted the poor working whites to believe, Why? Because they're going to need the poor working whites to remain being the elites, because the poor working whites are going to do all the laborious tasks required, and they're going to produce children for their military, for the militia. So that's why that parallel was interesting. That dynamic between them two, that his mother had for Thomas Wayne, who didn't care one spick about her, which you're going to learn in the film. One spick at all. And I'm going to get to her a little bit later. And his response to his mom is interesting, because as someone who's coached dozens of clients, through unresolved trauma, they have this connection to their parents that no matter how poorly their parents have treated them, they're going to always love and care for their parents at the end of the day. Right? It's almost that Stockholm syndrome. No matter how abusive and neglectful that person has been towards you, since you've been with them so long, under their care for so long, you start to look at the abuse and the neglection as a form of connection. But I'm not even going to dig that deep into that part. So that was that part, which he was bathing her in the tub. He takes Arthur, who is Joker, takes care of his mom. He takes care of all the bills. He physically takes care of her, makes sure she takes all her medicine. Then he has to try to maintain his own sanity. He has some, and I didn't even look it up, but he has some, mental disability, mental lapse where he laughs obsessively. And his laugh is the signature Joker laugh, which was, you get accustomed to it. At first you're like, nobody laughs like that in real life. But then you get accustomed to it. So, but he did it. Spectacular job. But anyway, then it goes to him and his job. What's interesting in his job, again, it's hard for me to look at things at just a surface level. I just can't. Just because my profession as a coach, just because I care about, being a mental health advocate for black men, just because my interest in things that are just, deeper than surface level. And so I can't just exist and watch something on the surface level. I'm always thinking there's the deeper layers to it. So when he talked about to his coworker, when he was with his coworkers and they were making fun of him, they all had the same shitty job. Yet they felt the need to demean him even more to make themselves feel better about themselves, for all of them being in a collectively crummy position of powerless, of poverty, powerlessness, and in poverty. And yeah, it was just, they were just demeaning him. They're just awful to him. And, one thing about Arthur early in this film, he's reminded me of a lot of myself and a lot of other black men I know who, in our formative years, we were very green, as they say, towards life. We were very optimistic. We were very carefree. We were very loving, initially trusting. We were very open, right? And then what happens is throughout the film, you slowly see that euphemism gets stomped out of him by society, which is so reflective of what most men who grow up in poverty, black and white, grow up in poverty, experience in every society. It shows actually what Arthur went throughout his entire life is what being a white man, poor white man, is what most black men go throughout their entire life. All right. He had so much burden he put on his own shoulders to take care of his mom, be there for his mom, and help the world, help people smile, that he shrunk himself inside until that inner him wreaked so much havoc inside with the outside pressures that he snapped, that the barrier broke, the seal broke, where his inside that was running amok inside of him, trying to break loose and express itself, collided with the powers of the outside world that were forcing down upon Arthur and turned him into the Joker. The insanely brilliancy about this movie is that Joker isn't crazy. He's cultivated, which is reflective of most of society's criminals and underbelly of society. That it's not that these people, the crimes are wrong, but these people aren't born this way. It's like that whole Frankenstein thing. Frankenstein was created by Dr. Frankenstein. People forget that. And Frankenstein was created because Dr. Frankenstein was rejected by society. That's why Frankenstein was created. All right? And that's how he became a monster. So it's the same thing with the Joker. Then you have a scene where the Joker meets this girl. Every guy meets a girl. I don't care how loony he seems to be or out of his. Every guy has a girl that has he has a soft spot for. And all it takes is a few instances of rejection to make you, especially from the girl that you love and you like, to make you say, fuck it all. Rejection from women is extremely hard for many men to take on. Most men, especially most men from poverty. Now, and then we respond to that in a varied amount of ways. From extreme internal traumatized, extremely internal suppressing emotions that becomes traumatizing, or extremely violent. And it doesn't show if he killed the girl or not, but I'm willing to bet that he didn't. I don't think he killed the girl, to be honest with you, even though we never seen her again after that film. I don't think he killed her and her daughter, but she rejected him. He was like, damn, and you felt it as a man because you know what he's going through. He's like, damn, after all these things we've been through together, you was there when my mom got killed. You was there. Well, my mom, went to the hospital. You was there. You went there when I was feeling my lowest, when I got fired from my job. You were there at my first comedy gig, etc., etc. She doesn't know how much she meant to him, which is also interesting because black men, what they often don't do is express how often somebody means to them, how deeply someone means to them, especially a woman. And then when we react a certain way. To us, it's justifiable, but to that outside person, it's not. It's because we never expressed to them how they felt to us, and why they felt towards us, and during what certain times. And on top of that, it also highlights an issue that black men have with effectively communicating. Because you don't just pop up just because you're having these exorbitant, uncontrollable feelings, pop up and deal with a woman or deal with a person how you want to deal with them on your own terms. Because Arthur was fucked up for just showing up in her apartment. On top of that, she did leave her apartment door unlocked in the projects, which I thought was weird. That was a real movie thing to do. Because he literally didn't have the key. He just opened the door. So that was that part. Then moving on to where else were we? What was another interesting part? Where Arthur met Bruce Wayne. And he became envious of little Bruce's lifestyle compared to how his was, because he come again, the projects of Gotham. And Bruce Wayne living in his big ass mansion with a butler. And he tried to tell, Jeffrey made an appearance in the movie, his younger version of himself. And it's just, it's interesting how Arthur envies the little boy who has no idea what the hell is going on, and creates an enemy of the little boy. And that little boy doesn't even know why. He's not cognizant of why. That's also a reflection of society as well, because you have many blacks who feel, like they're externally, a lot of working poor, who are shunned from society, and shunned in a way where it's like, all right, so if, we're going to be in the outside looking in, and they think everything that you have looks gravy, they're going to feel some type of way. They're going to want what you have. And therefore, they're going to have to justify a story in their head that's going to justify them taking what you have, or having an angst against what you have. So that was that part. I'm trying to think what was another part that was interesting. It was the part 2 where they had it where I want to say, so that was him and his son. Oh, hey, how you doing? So, and that was another part where that was with Joker and his son was like going. That was when Joker and Arthur, not Arthur, Bruce. That's their first time meeting each other. That's actually one of the few times that you're actually going to see Bruce in the entire film. So, don't try to anticipate that Bruce is he makes another appearance at the end of the film as well. So, don't anticipate that you're going to see this movie create Batman. This movie really hyper focuses on Arthur becoming Joker and why he became Joker. Then you also see that Joker. So what's that guy's name? Lakers fan. I can't think of his name right now. Wow, and he's like a classic actor. Anyway, he plays Murray in the film. He's like this famous TV host. He really plays. There's really a guy who is. There used to be a TV show back in the 60s and the 70s that I think his name was Dick something. I forgot the name of the show. But this is what this was a replica of. And he brought the Joker. And the Joker made a great point because he said that you brought me on TV because you wanted to make fun of me. And he was right because the Joker put his honest foot forward to do stand-up. And he thought, he did a good job, right? And apparently he did because he did get some laughs out of it. I thought it was hilarious, me personally. But was it Dick Tracy? No, it wasn't Dick Tracy. Jack Nicholson. That was the actor. Had to get that out. Jack Nicholson. And so he put his Jim Carrey put his best foot forward on stage performing. It's like society again. You're putting your best foot forward only for someone to make a mockery out of it, to make a joke out of it. And so Jack Nicholson brought him on his show to, embarrass him. And, he put a clip on and everything like that, and it was to make fun of him. He was like, man, all I was trying to do was just, honestly make people, like on the Joker's behalf, he was really just trying to make people smile. He was trying to do that through his comedy, right? And so which the ironic part is he actually did make people smile, but not in the way of which he originally thought he was going to make people smile. Which was through violence, which was interesting because when you study people like Hitler and people like that, you see that, they did heinous acts in the world, and when you read his I think he left behind a diary or journal of some sort, or they did accounts of people who know him. His whole efforts was to help his people, right, at the end of the day. And so that's what you find out in the film is that the Joker was really trying to help people. He just went about it in a sinister way. In a way that was criminal, because let's not forget, and that's the thing that's seducting about crime and people who commit crimes is that they have this allure towards them where if you can understand their causes for creating the crime, participating in crime, you develop empathy. If you can develop empathy for them, you can develop understanding for them, and when you can develop understanding for them, you start to give some ground for forgiveness. You give some credence for, okay, I can't hate you because I understand you, and therefore you sort of overlook you take away the severity of the crimes, you take away the ice of it because you understand. Oh, had I been through those same similar circumstances, I would have came out the same way. Still, at the end of the day, you have to keep in mind that those people who took a loss, and those people who took a loss with their lives can't come back and have that same amount of empathy and create their own versions, create their own perspectives, right? Because rarely do we often take this side of understanding the victims. I won't say that, but it's just when we try to understand the violators, we don't, in the same light, take the stance to understand the victims at the same time, because they didn't ask for any of this. Some of them did, some of them didn't. But this movie just shows that humanity is really about not good and bad. It's perspective. And crime is is bad for all of us because it hurts society. So crime is not really perspective based because the alleviation of crime creates stability. Still, at the same time, you need crime because you need to put pressure on those who are in control and in power to not feel that they have complete control. So, it's a very perspective-driven movie. At the end of the day, it's still great. Like, the theatrics of it are great. The writing is great. The shooting of it is so great. It's so gritty, but it's not overly gritty. You feel every scene, the settings, the room. The whole world feels like it's on top of Arthur's shoulders, and you feel that because you know what it feels like to have so much on top of your shoulders, so much expectations. So... And then towards the end, when he killed Murray, I told you this is going to be a spoiler. He killed Murray. He said they had an engagement of words. And, you know, he just wanted to make people smile. And he said, Murray, you brought me on this show because you wanted to make fun of me. You wanted to turn this on me. And so he did what a lot of people do who get in situations where they're under pressure. They find their own comfort within the discomfort. That's what really great people do. And he flipped it to where you're not going to make fun of me. I'm going to take control of this entire narrative and spin it towards my interests. And that's when he became Sinister, became the Joker. And so he got freed, and when the police tackled him, it's funny how they tackled him on scene. I laughed throughout most of this film. I'm gonna be honest with you, and it's because I do have a sinister side where it's like I like seeing things that make people shocked, that shock people, like shock value things, because I feel that most of society is so safe and sacred that it forgets that it shits, that it has waste, that it steps on plants, that it consumes animals, that the human race, we kind of we don't have anything contributing to the world aside from our bodies, during death, But so my whole point in saying is that we aren't always clean, as we think to be. And so seeing people cringe and stuff during moments of this film was funny to me, because it's like these people have always been here. We create the monsters, and we have to, the sooner we understand that, the lesser we are generated monsters, because it causes us to be more considerate for others that aren't like us, which is what this whole film also pushes. Because you have this is a classism film. This film is really based on classism, to shows that no matter your skin color, no matter your ethnic background, when you're in an economic class, you're all still seen and treated the same. Generally across the board. Now there are exceptions, of course. Still, generally across the board, when you're poor white, you're poor black, you're both poor, you're both getting treated the same. Hell, if you're black and you're poor white, you're still getting treated the same. Like Jay-Z said, still nigga. So that was great in that part. And then what was the other part? So towards the end, the police had him in handcuffs. He was going to jail, and he suddenly got freed by these clowns, because there was a whole revolt. And he stood on top of the car, and he did an iconic moment where he took his blood, that he was leaking blood, and he turned into a smile, which is symbolic to showing that you turn your tragedy, into empowerment, right? And that was so symbolic. Again, I always look at things in layers, not just surface level, right? And that was interesting, because at the end of the day, he just wanted people to smile, and everybody cheered him on, even though there was complete chaos in the city. He did his job of getting people to smile, even if it was at the detriment of those who will have to frown, of all the people that they killed, all the people that they violated and committed crimes against. And then at the end of the film, there's no post-credit scenes, by the way, but at the end of the film, Bruce Wayne's father and mother get shot in the alley, which is the classic which spins the classic Batman story. And so this kind of shows how Joker and Batman have a long history that's deep-rooted. This is like the prequel to Batman and prequel to Joker, and why they're always going to be at odds. And Joaquin did such a phenomenal job embodying Joker. I forgot the guy that played Joker, the best Joker. Starts with an L. He has an L in his name. I forgot his name. Keith something. I forgot. Anyway, Keith Ledger. He had the best Joker. But I will say, after seeing this performance, Joaquin clearly had the best Joker. From the laugh to the spine to the everything. He embodied the Joker. I'm a huge DC Comics fan, especially when it comes to animation. I grew up off the animation of DC Comics more so than the comics itself, because we couldn't afford all them damn comics. But I watched all of them Batman films and Batman series. There hasn't been a Batman series prior to 2010. No, prior to 2010 that I haven't seen. So it was epic, man. I hope DC picks up this theme and carries it throughout his franchise. It's like, okay, we're going to be the bad guys. You all hate us anyway. You think our movies are trash anyway. we're going to show you all a reflection of society, a true, dark, deep-seated layered perspective. It doesn't mean that every hero needs to be dark. It just needs to show the grittiness of humanity, because DC Comics really are the ones that have the least mutants. You know, there's more, you know, human capability on both sides as far as being evil villains, and both sides as being superheroes. You know, they cultivated and their expertise, right? Such as Batman. So anyway, that's a black intellectual black man's perspective on the Joker. Coach Demecos here. Looking forward to your feedback. Leave your comments below. What did you think? What did you get from it? What do you yeah, just leave your comments below. All right, y'all, I'm about to get back to my cigar and my rum, and y'all have a great evening. Remember, you had what it took the entire time. Find the courage now.